Hey, what's up, boys? We got some pretty massive news in regards to the Xbox brand, and if you've been on the internet at all, you should know exactly what I'm talking about. I, of course, am referring to how Microsoft just bought Activision Blizzard for $70 billion. Let that sink in for a moment. $70 billion. And they have obtained the publishers behind Call of Duty, Diablo, Crash Bandicoot, and Overwatch. Those are some pretty massive names, and this is a huge win for Microsoft, so I can imagine that future titles in these franchises will be exclusive to Xbox and PC systems. But you guys aren't here for the Xbox news, you guys are here for the Sonic, right? So this got me thinking, what game publisher will Microsoft acquire next? And that's when SEGA entered my mind. And as you guys all know, SEGA is the owner of Sonic, the Hedgehog we've all grown to love. And I know that the idea of selling Sonic is scary because he is a video game series that we all play very often, but I do think there are some advantages and disadvantages to SEGA being acquired by Microsoft. I just kind of want to make a video talking about why it could be a good or a bad thing for Sonic as a brand. And because I'm starting to feel that SEGA is one of those publishers that is just bound to be scooped up by Microsoft. Like, they're probably already talking at this point. I mean, look how close they are. Yakuza's on Game Pass. Also, I'm kind of sorry for doing 2 pros and cons videos in a row. Apologies. And anyways, let's just get into the pros first. So the first pro to Sonic being acquired by Microsoft is more resources. Microsoft has been very supportive of their franchises and pretty much lets the development teams do whatever they want. For example, Psychonauts 2 was a video game that had some development troubles. They were about to cut out boss fights because they were just lacking the funds to actually make them. But when Microsoft swooped in, they just showered the development team with a lot of money. The game even got delayed a few times so the team could follow through with their actual vision. And Lord and behold, the game was released and it was awesome. The game has an 89% on Metacritic, and trust me, that is not an easy score, especially when you have critics that complain about things like the game being too hard, alright? Not to mention how Forza Horizon 5 turned out pretty well, and Halo Infinite, while having some issues, is still a pretty good game. Now, if Sonic has this treatment where Sonic Team can have a much bigger budget for future Sonic games, that could help us out a ton. Sonic hasn't had big budget games for a very long time, and it's quite unfortunate. I mean, Sonic Frontiers does seem to have a lot more resources put into it, but the brand could still use more funding. Like, it's cool that Frontiers has a bigger budget, but under Microsoft's control, maybe we could start seeing spin-offs again. We could bring back 2D games, racing games, storybook games. There are so many things Sonic can benefit from if given the money on the games aspect of the franchise. And I am a believer that if Microsoft bought Sonic, spin-offs would be possible again because Microsoft would be funding them. And also, Microsoft might be looking for a flagship platformer here soon. I mean, Nintendo has Mario, Sony has Ratchet. Imagine if Microsoft had Sonic, one of the biggest video game icons of all time. And in return, this would make Microsoft more protective of the quality that Sonic produces, which basically means that they will sacrifice anything to make sure Sonic's games are good, just like how Nintendo does with Mario. Personally, I wouldn't mind this too much. Pretty cool. The next pro is that Sonic will be on Xbox and PC, but he might also be on Nintendo Switch. A while back, Microsoft released one of their exclusives to Nintendo Switch, the game being Ori and the Will of Wisps. I hate pronouncing that. They state that it's less about if it should be on the platform and more about if it makes more sense for the franchise. And as you guys know, Sonic sells best on Nintendo platforms, and Microsoft has a pretty good relationship with Nintendo. This isn't a guaranteed pro, but it is very possible, and I wouldn't be surprised if Sonic was still on Nintendo platforms after the deal was made. Which would be pretty dope because I love my Nintendo Switch. You know, you get to take Frontiers on the go, although I don't know if Frontiers is going to be good on the go. Anyways, that's all I really have for pros, so it's time to move on to the cons. Okay, so I only have one con for Sonic being sold to Microsoft, and it's a big one. If Microsoft bought SEGA, future Sonic games would not be on the PlayStation platform. By future Sonic games, I'm referring to games released after Sonic Frontiers. Because Microsoft does have to honor Frontiers being multi-platform, but the game after Sonic Frontiers is definitely not going on PlayStation. Games after Sonic Frontiers will for sure be an Xbox, PC, and maybe Nintendo Switch exclusive. So PlayStation players would unfortunately be doomed to not having Sonic on their platform. This is a con because obviously there are a ton of Sonic fans on the PlayStation platforms who would then have to purchase a new system or give up on the franchise entirely. Now, that is a pretty good reason why this is a big con and why it sucks. Because there are so many benefits to Microsoft purchasing SEGA, but at the same time, you are taking this franchise away from an entire fraction of this fan base. And because of that, it's hard to choose what's right for Sonic. On one end, we could get some really good and groundbreaking Sonic games, but without a lot of the fans. And on the other end, we could have some pretty bad games released every 4 years, but everyone would be able to enjoy it. So if I was in Sega's shoes, and I was offered $5 billion to sell my company to Microsoft, I would make the very hard decision of saying no. As much as I would love, absolutely love to have high budget and consistently good Sonic games, I don't want to be the one to take that experience away from people just because they're playing on a different console. I know it's a horrible business decision on every single front, but as cheesy as it is, I'd rather have everyone experience the game together. And this is coming from a Nintendo and Xbox fanboy who has never touched a PlayStation in his life, so I'm definitely not biased in this decision. But I mean, after all, Frontiers is looking somewhat promising, so who knows, maybe Sega doesn't even need Microsoft. So I will stand by my position to not sell Sega to Microsoft. I know it sounds like a bad decision, and I know there's gonna be a lot of people who disagree with me, but that's just how I feel. But with that said, tell me what you guys would choose. Would you sell Sonic to Xbox, or would you leave him alone? Tell me down below, because I'm curious to see what you guys have to say, because I think we should further this discussion. But for the rest of the video, I kinda want to give my opinion on Activision being bought by Microsoft. So you know what that means. Oh yeah, fade to Borderlands 3 gameplay, baby, let's go! The reason why I'm showing Borderlands 3 gameplay is because I currently do not have any Activision games downloaded. And you know, Activision has made some pretty good first-person shooters, so we're playing Borderlands now because it makes sense. I was very surprised when I heard the news. Microsoft actually went and bought Activision. That is insane. Instead of actually making good exclusives, they're just buying them all. And it's a crazy practice. And it's clear that these games are going to be exclusive. They did not drop almost $70 billion for Call of Duty to not be exclusive to Xbox and PC. It's the same song and dance with the Bethesda titles. Everyone was saying Bethesda is still multi-platform. But then you slowly begin to realize that wasn't the case. It was all made apparent when it was announced that Starfield is an Xbox exclusive. Now you can't really say Bethesda is multi-platform when their next big game is only on Xbox and PC. Which, you know, is what happens when you buy a studio like that. I personally am not too hurt over this because I stopped playing COD games after Call of Duty World War II released. I used to buy every game in that franchise as soon as it came out, but I just couldn't anymore. I had enough of that franchise. Although I will say, back in my days when I was a huge Xbox fan, I would be absolutely losing my mind at this announcement. I used to love Call of Duty, but in my opinion, the last good game was Black Ops 3. I heard Modern Warfare 2019 was good. It might be, but I just don't care anymore. It's not the franchise I used to love, and I'm a simple man. If a franchise takes a direction I don't like, I can just simply stop playing the games and never give it a second thought. Something else that added to this was just the terrible acts that Activision committed. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can find a million videos talking about it. Let's just say they didn't treat their employees the best. I personally do not care about boycotting. If you tell me to not buy a game because the creator has some wild political opinion or he did something stupid, I really couldn't care less. But when Black Ops 2 went on sale, one of my favorite games of all time finally went on sale on Steam, I didn't want to buy it because of the stories that broke out about Activision. I've never felt that way about a game. I genuinely do not care about boycotts, but this time around, I genuinely didn't want to play the game after what I read. So you know, I bought Ori and the Blind Forest instead with that sale, and it was a rather good purchase if I do say so myself. So where am I going with all this? Well, I don't really care about the exclusivity war. Xbox did get a big win, but I mainly care about what's happening with these franchises. Franchises like Call of Duty, Overwatch, and Crash Bandicoot, because I have played all of those games and they do mean something to me. And if Microsoft can kick that old CEO out of Activision and actually put more quality control on the next Call of Duty game, you might see me purchasing a COD game, which hasn't happened in a very long time. Maybe we can finally stop rushing Call of Duty games, and we can stop the oversaturated annual franchise. Also, perhaps, maybe we can finally get Overwatch 2, because I'm a huge fan of Overwatch and I'm dying to play a sequel. Although, considering the strange development, that might be a while. And lastly, maybe we can finally get a Crash Bandicoot game with a set of developers that actually sticks to Crash Bandicoot. We went from Vicarious Visions to Toys for Bobs, and I'm tired of it. Whoever develops the next Crash game needs to stay developing Crash games. Stop changing the developers. So please, Microsoft, fix Activision's practices, because quite honestly, Activision is very annoying. It's hard to sleep at night knowing this company is producing garbage like this, man. Alright? Give us good games again. And that's all I have to say on that matter. Tell me what you guys think. What is the best or worst part about this deal? Maybe we can actually get a good Call of Duty game, or maybe it's gonna stay bland and boring. Anyways, that's all. I love you guys. See you in the next video. Adios. My chill members are Let's Go Gaming, JNextV, True Blue Sonic, Speedsters Unite, Rocco MK, WizBond 60 FPS, Dusty Basket 786, Saint, Sonic Hub, Thomas One Ride, Chip Chop Chop, Escape, Virtuous Saison, Sonic Peppers, Sonic Crash D00D, Squeaker Nerd, Super Shags Boom, Sonic Extreme, and Super Saiyan Sonic. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. You guys really helped me out. You went out your way. Thank you so much. I got more content coming soon. I've been on a real grind. That's so cringy. I hate saying grind. But yeah, I've been on a real grind to get this content out to you guys. I got some interesting videos, also some new videos I've never tried out before, but yeah, you'll see that soon. Anyways, I love you guys. Adios.